and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be creating a character design based on only a color palette. Now y'all already know that colors are not my strong suit, so this was a really fun challenge. Since I'm really bad at picking colors, especially ones that go well together, I decided to turn to a generator for help, or else this video would have been much worse. So I used this website called Colors. I'll link it in the description. It's a super cool website, especially if you're like me and you struggle to create aesthetics or good palettes when coloring. This isn't the first time I've used this website. It's super useful because if you see a color that you like, you can actually lock the color and continue randomizing, and it will automatically generate colors that match it. This is not sponsored. I just think it's a super useful tool, and I use it for drawings. I've used it for drawings in the past. For our purposes this time, though, I didn't lock any of the colors and instead just generated a few palettes before I found one that I liked and I thought I could work with. So this was the palette I picked. It wasn't the first palette I got, but the first one that I got reminded me so much of Applejack from My Little Pony that I couldn't really think of anything else. And I'm a sucker for blue and cooler colors, if you couldn't tell. So now that I have my palette, I started sketching some ideas. Initially, when I saw the shades of blue, I thought of a really beautiful flowing ball gown type dress. So I started sketching out that idea, going along the lines of maybe this was a performer. I started doing I started going with the idea of them being a singer, and to get a flow for to match the dress, having the cord of the mic wrap around while the dress flowed. So that's kind of the first idea I was going with. Then I started to realize that the dress idea wasn't really going to work out for me, so I just erased it and changed the idea completely. And instead, I decided to sort of let the pose guide me in what I was going to do. So once I drew that hand, I knew that I had to go in the 1950s era direction. I really liked the hairstyle that I was going with in the first initial sketch, so I kind of wanted to carry it off into this one, with a pigtail bun look for the final. She looks super fun. She reminds me a lot of Miss Chalice from the Cuphead show, like someone who is super sweet and bubbly, but will also take the 20 sticking out of your pocket. Larned is the hardest step for me. Even with smoothers turned on, I will still get unsteady lines. That speaks miles to the amount of caffeine and anxiety that is contained in my person. The line was probably the longest part of the drawing, actually, which I was surprised by because normally it's the coloring that will take me a long time to do. But the nature of the challenge kind of fixed that problem for me, so, I guess that makes sense. I still struggled on that thumb, though, but I had a pretty quick recovery from that. It's totally not because this is sped up. Her outfit's pretty basic. I really adore this style of clothing, though, and the jazz swing music vibe. Words cannot express the chokehold this style and vibe has on me. I have an entire story based on a similar era, but just adding the circus on top of that. If you ever see me stream, I talk about it anytime I become aware of what the music is playing. Because I have yet to find a good copyright-free DMCA playlist that I can use for streaming. So both my starting and ending song are in the swing genre, and that's how I found a way to sort of sneak my obsession into the streams. But I would really, really love any recommendations for playlists. If you know any, please tell me in the comments because I need one. I love the music so much. There was this one playlist that I listened to for a whole year almost religiously, but it does have copyright music in it, so I can't use that playlist. But it was a really good playlist, and I played it in the bushes on Halloween that year. It was wild. Anyway, I had to get a good reference for the shoes because I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I couldn't fully visualize what I was looking for in the shoe. So my brain kept kind of thinking of bowling shoes, but also fancier shoes. So I had to just pick something that was close to it, so I can just have a reference, so my brain could stop bouncing around. Yeah, and it also helped me later on when I was trying to apply the colors onto the drawing and figuring out what should go where. The next step was coloring. I knew that I wanted to use the burnished brown as the skin color because I wanted to do a character for this challenge, and it was a good neutral color for skin. versus the other ones. This process was surprisingly easy. I was actually pleasantly surprised how much the palette helped me. So what I decided to pay attention for this was the value of the colors rather than the actual color themselves. Because if there is one thing that I learned in all of my color theory classes is that goddamn value scale. It was the single piece of information that was drilled into my brain, and I will use it. Since there were three different shades of blue, the light blue, the the galucose, glac, cos, glacose, glacose, maybe that color, like whatever, which had a sort of mid-tone color and the dark cornflower blue. I went with the darker top with the hat and darker colors on the shoes with lighter and mid-tone centering the middle of the character to highlight the face more and draw more attention to the trickster sly face. Overall, the hardest part of coloring probably was the shoes because I wanted them to be multicolored with both light and dark colors on them, and it was a challenge to make sure that the same colors weren't touching and each other that the same colors weren't touching each other and that they didn't blend into each other. So I left the tongue of the shoe alone for a while and I came back to that later. I really did like that dark salmon color though. I just recently watched Turning Red and the main character has red hair and she has that same color tones within her hair because it's multiple shades. So this color really reminded me of that look and I was really happy to use the color for the hair. Okay. So I did change the settings for the hands, but I didn't change the hue. I only changed the saturation and the brightness. So that's the digital equivalent of adding white to the paint. So don't come at me for not being truthful to the palette, okay? I I tried with the salmon color. It just looked wrong. Please, please, I'm trying. Um, I did use the salmon color for accents as well, though, which I thought tied the design together nicely. I added a simple background because I didn't want to leave it on just plain white, so I just did some basic color separations. And for the shading, I used the darkest color to just shade over the entire character, and then I changed the setting of the layer from normal to a soft light. So it is still the same color, but the setting of the layer changed, so a little digital cheat code there. And that's it. We're finished. We done did it. I am super happy with the outcome. I think it looks really cute and really cool, and it was super fun to practice using colors. I'll definitely be doing another one of these challenges, or even just more color challenges, because the only way we're gonna get better is if we practice more, right? So if you have any challenges that you want me to try, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you thought about the outcome, or just how your day is going. If you did enjoy this video, then give that button a good old slap and subscribe. I've got a lot planned and plenty more videos that are in the works, including the long-awaited animation slash animatic. So there is so many cool things to come, and I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!